That's a new first emoji that happens. Welcome in, Stoney. How are you? How's the day going? How's everything? How is everything? Apparently things are broken. I seems to have some issues with uh, text to speech. No, speech to text. Yeah, that. Basically, the caption are not working on OBS today. Apparently, the plugin is not found on my computer when it was working before. Am I working and it's not working? I am. I am working. Working, talking. I am talking. That's the thing. Do you also have like such a fat ass delay again? Um, that's what happened. So we have some issues with the sound things. We have some issues with the Mac itself. Apparently, there is some things that just don't make any sense. The fans are fanning a lot right now, so we'll see if that's getting out. I don't know. I don't know what is linked to this. I've tried to take a look at the activity monitor and you know process and so on. Everything is maxed out for no fucking reason. So we'll see. You have a 28-second delay. That's a lot. That's a lot. Please, hi, welcome in. Welcome back. How have you been? Yes, the hair has disappeared. Kind of, in a way, to an extent. Um, yeah, I think you have something that happens with the Twitch player, not just you, like everyone, me as well, where basically it goes into sleep mode or something, and then when you re-access the tab, it's getting into, oh yeah, we need to do something, and it shows you the stream, so there is a fun ass delay, which happens. It's fine. It's okay. I'm pretty good. I'm a bit tired, but not as tired as expected, which is fine. My sister received a letter here, which is not supposed to happen, which is addressed to my dad, which is dead since 2018. Not an option. And yeah, it's ads again telling her that her mobile phone is gonna be more expensive. Mm. Other than that, everything is good. Everything is pretty good. We have stuff that I wish I could just show you and showcase and so on, but I don't think I can't. No, it's weak. The thing is, my sister had a Bouygues account in the past. I think she changed, and now she's not there anymore, but they still send her letters. So it happens. It's fine. It's fine. So I've made some teeny tiny changes. I don't know if this makes more sense than that. You know what? This will make more sense. The first change is Nox for calling. I decided to go with the serif font, native iOS serif fonts. Cat, hi, welcome in. Good morning. For the titles of the things, but also for the things. God dang. For the titles on these cards, 225 is crazy. Congrats. That is impressive. I have nothing else to say. This is very impressive. Dang. So yeah, changing this font to have like a serif font and mostly having them here in a grid mode. It looks better. It looks better. It looks more premium and luxurious, and because it's a perfume related app, it makes sense. So that's the reason. The thing that I'm debating right this instant is the rendering of the font itself, and I have options, obviously, but there is one option that just makes so much sense, and it works, kinda. Um, Basically, the I think I need to pin that one. Um, and I think I need to go in the unify thing. Yes, the the font itself, specifically the color, could be integrated as a um, like a blending mode to go through and fade into the background a bit more and basically make the image shine a tad more than what it is right now. The thing is, when I do that, let me see where it is. Um, I think there. um, the the issue that I have with that is that it works, but not too much. Congrats on 15 streams. That's impressive as well. Appreciate it. I appreciate it. Right behind Stony, indeed. So, in this section specifically that you can't see, but it doesn't really matter, if I go in blend mode and I go into overlay or screen or something or whatever, it doesn't really matter. These um, are blending with the background, right? And it's a bit too much blending. It's almost great, but it's not amazing. A lot of people, like Cat, for example, wouldn't be able to see these backgrounds in any ways. So it's interesting, but it's not great. But it's interesting. And specifically, the reason why it's interesting is because the blending mode makes it as if it will bound or blend properly with the background color. So based on the user, not navigation, but like collection, we will have a thing that makes more sense. So the overlay is an option, but it's not necessarily good. And the thing is, the overlay is the only one that kind of blends in into light mode and dark mode and is okay, but it's bad, but it's okay. And I tried other like screen, I tried other like plus lighter or plus darker, or depending on the um bitch. Nope. Depending on the theme of the user, we end up with things that are not necessarily good. So specifically, and that's my main issue. In dark mode is going to be good in screen, but in light mode is going to have some issues at times. Going back to some of the things that I showcased, I guess now 2 months ago, in the use case and potential that the user may have something like you can see here, screen, you don't have any titles anymore. That doesn't exist. In the use cases where like the user has a lot of yellow based perfumes, a lot of citrus, a lot of others, you end up with a yellow background, and therefore you don't like it's not good. It's not nice for the blending mode. That's the only thing that I wanted to say. So that's the thing, and it's kind of sad, but yeah, so far what I've done is change the opacity to be at 80% so that it kind of blends in with the background, but not too much. And then make sure that the font itself is the italic version of the serif font. I don't want to go to the thin serif, even though that could make it like more interesting. I kept that this way just for now because it makes sense, and we have the details of said perfume that also take that serif font, which I think is pretty good overall. So we'll see how it works. We'll see how good I can make it. I I can figure out a way to get these blended a bit better, but we'll see. Like so far, that's where we are. It's pretty good. It's working. I'm complaining, but not too much. So, you know, it's okay. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. Nonetheless, that's the main thing that I've done. I was also debating removing the word details because it makes absolutely no sense and it clutters the view. So that's something that I was debating earlier today, but then I remembered that maybe sometimes I could have this thing take the the name of the perfume instead. However, again, sometimes in the collections that I have, I end up with perfumes that have names that are very, very long, and therefore it's not gonna match entirely. So we don't like it. Nonetheless, still good stuff. Still good stuff. The other thing that is pretty good, I guess, so far is if that works today. Yes, it does. Is the loading of that screen specifically. This morning, it took somewhere along the line of 2 to 3 seconds to see the colors in the background. And now I have bumped that to almost immediately. It's not exactly immediate. It's still started pure black or pure white, depending on the theme, but it's way faster than before. It's still kind of slow. There's still something that pissed me off, but for the transition to happen and to be perceived and recognized and so on, it makes more sense. So that's where we are. It's pretty nice. It is pretty nice, but yeah, small details, small changes, which at the end of the day will not really impact anything. The other thing that I need to do now is potentially change these fonts as well to get them to use the serif fonts, because otherwise it makes no sense, right? You want coherent changes in between the entire app. So if you change something in serif in one place and that font is associated with the perfume name, that's the case. We kind of want to have that on every page that have the perfume names, otherwise it doesn't make any sense. So yeah. Other than that, I think that's about it on this one. Yeah, I reached the point where I'm currently just tweaking the design, which is what I like to do, to make sure that I have something that just makes more sense and end up being more usable than anything else. So yeah, no new features, kinda. Um, but yeah, overall, that's the thing. I don't know why my Mac is blowing off right now. That's something that makes no sense though. I don't I don't understand that. I don't understand that. But yeah, that is where we are for the app, which is pretty good. I am debating um, integrating, not integrating, posting the TikToks that I posted, rephrase, posting the video that I made on TikTok on YouTube Shorts. I think that's a good idea. The thing is, it feels weird to me to send a video that I sent or posted like 3 months ago, 2 months ago, um, to YouTube Shorts right now because it's the first video of the series about the perfume app. It makes sense, like you want the beginning to work, but also it's a lot. Like it's one video per day for the past 2.5 months. So there is like 60, 70 videos to be posted. We'll see. Nonetheless. Nonetheless. Um, that's about it. That's about it. Um, I'm reading chat and I can't read chat, you know that everything is fine. So yeah, that's the thing. I really like the effect of the blending mode for the text, but I don't think it's gonna work. So I need to figure out how I can make something work. I guess, I mean, my main guess is going to be using with a Z? No, using header stuff. Can I find that in one click? No, I cannot. Sorry. So if you haven't followed through, Heather has created a lot of things, and Garnish is probably the best option for me to use as a package. It's something that just use an auto contrast, um, like system. God damn it! Right now everything is broken. Um, and so you end up with the ability to just get your your contrast ratio to be good, and to have a color that matches the background, so it works through processing the pixels that are behind, which is pretty cool. So I think this could work, but we'll see. For now, we don't know. For now, we don't know. In the unrelated news, but still news, apparently because there is renovation in the building, the workers left the front door open, and we had some break-ins. Um, I had to just push off like three, I guess, teenagers at this point, out of the building just because they was trying to steal stuff in the staircase, including my ladder. So good thing I have good ears. I was watching a movie that was pretty much like action movie, so that has bangs and all of that, which shouldn't have I shouldn't have heard what happened in the corridors, but I did. And yeah, it just had like three guys trying to steal stuff for no reason. So that was fun. This is one of the reasons why it's kind of annoying to have the renovation on the outside of the building. In Paris, and specifically here in that district of where I am, the the scaffolding are the best opportunity for anyone that wants to steal stuff from apartments, small stuff, because it's just you have a scaffolding on the entirety of the building, and anyone can just break a window and come into your flat if you want to, and they usually go for the um, first level and two levels and so on because it makes sense. But right now, yesterday, they were on the sixth floor, so that happened. That happens. We'll see if things happen at some point, but it's annoying. It is annoying. I discovered something that is currently in the liked post for today, and there is something else that popped in. I think we stopped there. I guess we stopped there. So this one was pretty nice. It's a pretty interesting website to showcase components. Not necessarily something that is good, but it's just like you know, infinite Canva, more organic, and so on. This is a very interesting layout and content for a landing page and a website. But it's a scripted scroll, so it goes through the infinite Canva in a way that looks like you are navigating an infinite Canva, but it's not the case. It's just on scroll, but you can still like move things around, interact with the things, and so on. So it's fun, but that's it. Uh, Again, this is like the creating organic environment so that it's not AI generated, even though you know um, it's probably AI generated to an extent. But yeah. We stopped on this. I think there was this thing popping off, which is pretty cool, which led me to learn how to do this. I know it's an inner shadow, but I didn't know how to do an inner shadow earlier today, and now I know. So I'm happy with that. That's a good news for me. Um, this one from Pharaoh was really cool. We talked about some of the other things that we have seen from Pharaoh in the past.
Jan
Yeah, we're
Lunge just
gonna.
resubscribed for 20 months. Ah, hello him having a meltdown, how are you?
What's the meltdown about? Is it melting cheese? Because that cheese meltdown is pretty good. I'm not gonna complain about that. But thanks a lot for the resub. I appreciate it. Welcome back. It's been a while. We had to say so much stuff where I was like, oh, that's for Yan, for sure. Now it's too far away. What's the meltdown about? We are pretty good. We are pretty good at reviewing the usual initial start of the stream situation. So yeah, these ones are pretty cool. There is a ton of thing that I don't like based on how it is and how it's presented. The highlight for these elements are at that like diagonal situation for this one, and this one is horizontal, so I don't really understand the hierarchy of information for how the light is supposed to hit the elements. And then these holes look like they are either holes and therefore the light is coming from here, which is like a 45-ish, which is the total opposite of that. Or if they are dots, it means the light is coming from the other side. So there is like a lot of inconsistency in light sources. I remember that some of the initial tools and creations that used light for representation and stuff used the LEDs inside of the content to, shine lights and stuff. But here it doesn't seem to be the case. Nonetheless, pretty cool. And then there is this thing. I love this thing every time. There will never be a day where I don't like this thing. So, you know, it's just cute. It's just cute, but that's about it. That's all we have on this. We talked about that last time. That was me all day. Dang it. Personal mobile is so bad it basically stops working after like 500 notes. That's interesting. But it goes to have your photos in there, like a photo stream. 15,000 pictures rewriting native is off the table. The previous version that wasn't offline, it wasn't offline first, just did not have this problem, but I kind of need the offline first approach. Yeah. I'm gonna still be a designer on this, still not a dev. I mean, better dev than before, but still not a dev. I have the same problem. I had the same problem, and I'm not gonna say that I fixed it, but I kind of did. So, what was the issue on my collections? Basically, what I realized was the fact that a user with a big collection of perfumes, based on the feedbacks that I have received, is someone that has roughly 400 to 800 perfumes in their collection, right? These are like the top level things. So in my head, I said, I'm going to build the app to be as good as possible for someone that has 1,000 entries. And so 1,000 entry means that there is the perfume itself. That's fine. And then there is the timeline entries, which for most entry in a user collection, there will be like 3 to 6 entries in there in the timeline container. And then under that, you have all of the data that is linked to the entry itself. And so all of that was basically starting to glitch at around 250 perfumes in your collection. It was starting to be sluggish. While I'm testing the app, so building through Xcode to my phone, it's sluggish as fuck, and it's really not like uh, performant at all. But when you are just using the app without um, using the um, like the Xcode checking stuff in the background, it's kind of fluid and it's fine. So there is that to be taken into consideration. What I've done, and again, I don't know exactly if it's exactly what happens, but I think it is. The reason why it was sluggish is because I'm doing the calculation here to check what perfume is the best suited for the day. So it was calculating the perfume relevance for the day based on the weather that was changing all the time, based on the user location. I mean, it's parts to the weather, but it's also like kind of bound to it, bound to as well the user collection, and then for each of the user perfume, checking the last worn, like the last worn date, to make sure that it wasn't like yesterday I won that and today I'm gonna wear it again. That is the recommendation. Like that's not the goal. Making sure that the notes were matching the the temperatures and so on. Like a lot of calculation for no fucking reason. What I've done is basically these calculations are based on metrics that can be pre-calculated, and I made the decision to hold a section of the perfume entry itself, being the perfume aura, that has the pre-calculation that is calculated once when the perfume is added to the collection, and then I'm just using that data to do calculation faster. I know it's really different than what you have, but um, with that and with this system, everything is stored in multiple versions of the database, which is kind of annoying, and I feel like you can't do that, but why not? So basically, what I have is um, I have a thing that is called the GRDB, which is an SQL container uh, kind of thing. So it's pretty simple. It works ish, and that's like my main data per perfumes. The JRDB is the entity that is the factual data for that perfume entries. And then in order to get like a perfume entry for the user collection, it's combined with or in addition with the perfume entry that is a Swift data container. And that Swift data container is split into the perfume data or the non-factual data and the timeline data. And all of that, right, is bound together. So basically what happened is that is a specific database that is a sub database of this one, and this one is a sub database or subtable of this. Because I'm using Swift data for these three things, it ends up being efficient-ish up to 1,000, 2,000 entries kind of thing. Um, and that's pretty good. And because this is SQL, SQLite thing, it's efficient, and there is like 42, yes, 42,000 entries in there. So that's the thing. The split that happens seemed to be the reason why it's now working better. And the other thing that I've done is make sure that some of the heavy calculation potentials have been ported to files rather than being in the app itself. So I know it's not necessarily the best thing, but yeah. Um, um, I think based on what you have, and I don't, I think you already have something that's probably performant enough, and you might just need the performance optimization, or that's a different thing, or, and you might want to do that, just attempt, uh, if that's an option, to rewrite the entire thing natively to see if that would help, kinda. Um, but yeah, I think I'm gonna say something that is, I think, more close to what you have. Something like Notion can have an offline mode, as far as I remember, and the way that the offline mode work, memories, is it's going to fetch the data on the server and then hold it in cache on device for a certain amount of time. And then if you want to access it, but it's not in cache and you are not connected to the internet, it can't access it. So it's a half hybrid offline first situation, which I do think for you is potentially an option to get the optimization because you can like clear the cache, hold the thing in cache, and fluctuate stuff. But then again, still not a dev, so do with that what you will. But I think an hybrid would be a potential options because that would mean, I mean, based on the fact that you said that your previous version that was not offline first didn't have any issues, but you need the offline first. Um, if you make an hybrid, you basically have the ability to just fetch what you need when you need it. Most people are going to be connected to the internet in a way, 90% of the time. Like it's really, again, on my whole year of being alive, that happens. Uh, I might be offline for 20, 30 hours per year, maybe. And that happened when I'm on a plane. Um, I don't have any battery left. It really doesn't happen. And I'm in an environment that doesn't have reception when I'm at my mom's place, for example. So I recognize that the offline first is a good idea. And again, all of my apps currently are offline first, like there is no server, kinda. So that's something. Um, but um, yeah, but that's a thing that is like you can remedy this period of time that is kind of low by saying we don't have access to this data just yet. Connect to the internet to fetch it or something, and then you will have access to it on offline. Or you can do the Netflix route. You can go the Netflix route, that's the word, where you say, I want to download this for offline. Um, but yeah, but nonetheless, I agree that's a bit of an issue. If, again, if could be here, if the online first version is good and doesn't have issues, doesn't bugs, everything is working, maybe launch the apps as online first because it works, and then take your time to build the offline version a bit later. Um, But yeah. Ah. There has been like a new set of tools for debugging and performance that have been released in WWDC 25, but I'm guessing this is through Xcode directly, which, because you're not doing native stuff, it might not be the thing. Um, but yeah, there is something that popped in my head right now, which makes sense, is the elevator mirror situation. If you know what it is, you know what it is. If you don't know what it is, basically the reason why we have elevators, we have mirrors in elevators, is because at some point in the career of having an elevator in your building, people were complaining about the time it was taking. They were saying that it was too long, even though it wasn't, but they were just complaining about the speed of the elevators. And by putting a mirror in there, people are basically looking at something else and or pay attention to something else and don't notice the time it actually take. So nothing changed, but people were saying, "Oh yeah, it's much faster now," even though that wasn't the case. So I knew it was one of these days. I knew it was going to be one of these days that happens. We're still here. We're still here. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Um, that's good. That might help. That might help. I mean, they might have more knowledge than me and the ability to answer some of your questions, um, probably. So that's a good thing. What I would say as well, and one of the reasons why the latest app that I've built is not on Android at all, um, it pisses me off. And I have become a very stereotype iOS devs, right? Um, and it's just, it works on iOS, it works on Mac, but every time you have something on Android, it just doesn't fucking work. And it makes no sense because it should, but it doesn't. So there is that. And then the second thing, or at least from my point of view, the second thing is in between this one and this one and this one and that one Android phone that you may have encountered or that your app may be installed on, the performance are going to be different. The specs are going to be way different, which will like impact the rendering and so on. And you never know what the user is going to have. So building for Android is basically ensuring every edge case is tackled. Um, so it's just, it's a lot. So that's one of the other reason why once you, that's my fault, but once you start building for some specific language, the others seems to be like much harder than the first one. So, it happens. The thing that also pissed me off on my end is the fact that if I'm on Android Studio and I'm looking at how the app is looking through the preview, it's shitty. But if I'm sending it to the phones that I have directly, it's fine. Like there is no issues with it. But it's just like on the preview, it's not working. So that's the thing. If you haven't seen or if you have seen, I don't know, it depends. At least you have it in here. In the reading list, this no, sorry, wrong channel. In the main channel, this happened. So there is a new version of Swift for Android where you basically have the ability to write Swift code and run that through the Android platform. Um, I don't know exactly how integrated it is, but um, it could be interesting as well. Um, so that's one of the reasons why it might become more interesting, and porting is probably going to be more interesting as well and more easy for native stuff, Swift to Swift now instead of Swift to Kotlin. But still, and I forgot if you are using um, Expo. No. Yes. Yes. I forgot. Uh, Capacity. I don't know what that is. Interesting. Um, hmm, I see. I see. Interesting. Very interesting. I'm gonna I'm gonna stay here for a split second, right? Uh, these are some different activities, but let me see if it's here. I doubt it. I feel like it's on Twitter and not on this one. Um, why is this shit not working? It is right there. That's an awfully close thing that popped in one day ago, and I'm thinking this one existed from before. Um, Goddamn, that's crazy. Nonetheless, it's a very common icon type. We've seen that many times before, but it's interesting. Anyways, so yeah, I feel like the essence of your project and your app is like such a I know I'm comparing to Notion, but it's such a Notion-like monolith of a project and an app. Like you need to have so much that works at the same time, that is synced properly, that has basically live update, so that if you are changing something on device A, it changes on device B as well at the same time. So there's so much going on that like I feel like what Stony has done or had done, because now it's changed in the beginning, that was simply the website is responsive enough so that it's accessible on any platform, and you do you, right? You can have that on your home screen by just saving the website to your home screen, and then it behaves as a non-native web view. That's an option. But I feel like this is probably not good. So, yeah, I don't know. And then again, going back to what I was just saying a second ago, this being kind of the new thing or the new not trend, but like the new thing. Um, and the ability to just run directly that syntax um, on Swift, it's just pretty good. It will probably help a ton. The thing that we know and the thing that we have talked about before, and I know it's in the liked post, not the cats, but like in the liked post somewhere. Um, we have this thing, which I forgot the name, like skip tools things, that is a builder, that is a cross-platform builder for your app. So you compile them in Swift UI and then it just recompile them in Kotlin. So it has a very specific syntax, a very specific structure that needs to happen, and so on. But now that they're working with having Swift in Android as well, um, that might be something that is interesting. I don't know. It depends on you. But nonetheless, um, you know, it's interesting. It's potentially a good thing. It's probably a good thing. But yeah, nonetheless, that's a thing that you could do. The only thing that I would tell you, listen to me when I say that. I'm not a dev. You are more dev than me. That's for sure. I tried and failed to simply set up this fucking thing. I tried to create like a brand new project that was following the same system. Couldn't figure it out. The documentation and everything that they have is pretty good. It seemed to be working, but then there are stuff that I just don't know. Um, and I just don't fucking know how that works when they are saying you need to like initialize stuff and so on. Like there are some API keys and other secrets and stuff that just I couldn't recover on my own, but I'm sure you could probably. The only thing that I don't like about that, past that point of me failing at implementing this thing, is the way that they have stuff organized is basically implemented in a very specific way, and you need a very specific folder structure to be followed in order for this thing to potentially transfer the content from the Swift UI to the Kotlin version. And at the end of the day, it's not necessarily something that will work 100% of the time. So it might help, but it's not like a one size fits all, and it's just done after that. So that's the thing. The last point on Skip, which seems pretty good, based on the fact that they have announced the new version of Swift, like Swift UI and Swift for Android, and they are part of the Swift group, or the Swift Android group, I think, inside of the Swift language team. God damn, that's a lot of things. They are making sure that now it's going from Swift to Swift, basically. So it's just a matter of, oh yeah, for this thing, this API on iOS that is like native in system, the Android version is not the same. So you just need to change one of two things, and then you should be pretty good. So that's something that they are working on. What?
Frank Keith is now following.
Your name. It happens. Frankie, hi, welcome on in. How are you? Who are you? How did you find the stream? Thank you for chatting. To me, some of the thing that I've said before as well to Stony many times, is it might be interesting to have a version that is like the web app that contains everything, and to have a version that is the mobile app that contains 3 features, and that's it. Like it just has a read-only mode, which just has a limited amount of thing that it can gather from the server and store on device. Like you could probably end up with, as I said earlier, an hybrid situation where your container in your database locally only has X amount of data and records stored, and then anything that is greater than that is just push the older one that haven't been updated for a while into the off cache. So not there anymore. And then if the user wants to just get access to that again, it just needs to re-download them. So there is a need for connection. So it's an hybrid that would potentially work. So if you figured out that like 500 records is that that much from crashing and being a bit like too slow, maybe 250 is enough for what you're doing. But it's also like, again, the things that you're building are so much more than what I have, for sure. So it might not be a possibility for you to just have as well. Like that's also a thing that I have in my head. Um, but yeah, the more thing you add on top, like I get the breakdown, the mental breakdown for sure. Because yeah, goddamn, good. My job is done. I can go. um, that's good. That is good news. That is good news. No, I, I think you have the options. As I said before, when I was basically struggling with the database on my end and making sure that I understood, and specifically because of the thing that I'm building makes absolutely no sense. And I showcased that before. But there is a system that I have put in place in this thing that just makes absolutely no sense for any sane human being that wants to build like an app. You shouldn't do that. But I still did. But yeah, no, this thing, in order to make sure that the collection and the data and all of that was as stable and as fast as possible, it's still not as fast as possible if you look closely. And I don't know how visible it's going to be on stream, but if I just scroll through at a pace that is like um, swipe pace kind of thing, you might be able to see that it has some teeny tiny amount of lags here and there. And also right now I'm running my phone through mirror through my computer, so that's not the best anyways. But there is like a ton of micro lags when I'm scrolling a page that only has 74 entries. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Like it's just 74 entries. And these lags are already a lot. So, you know, um, that's something. You can also see the bit of lag at times here. Like you can kind of see that in the transitions here and there. Um, but these are details, right? So just making sure that everything works locally and not having a server for me was kind of easier because it's just like it's on device and that's it. Um, and then because I am a dumbass, remember that, and I wanted to have that library and that like database of 40,000 entries that should grow to something like 200,000 entries, 200,000 records to be on device for the user, but also on server. Like it's a mirror of both. That's not something that you should do, but I still did it. And you know, it works. It's not good, but it works. And so basically the system, as I think I showcased that before. Um, the system that I have, do I have this here? Kinda, yeah, but that's weird. And that's also not a thing anymore. It doesn't really matter. There. Basically, what I have is the SQLite container on device is a true copy of the CloudKit um, containers, right? So the 40,000 entries that I have or recalls that I have here are duplicated to CloudKit as a public database system. And so if I add thing here, it's then sent to every user's. And so every user's containers, like on device, get the new record added every time. So you end up with like, you know, something like this. So that happens on every launch. If there is like some change here, every user is getting like that update. But it's basically just pulling the data and storing it on device. So at some point, that amount, Mizzy, hi, welcome in, is going to be a lot and probably going to be a bit of a strain on the user data and the user phones. I'm not there yet. So I don't really care. I do, but I don't really care. Um, but that's the thing. And that simple system took me, I would say, a fat ass months to figure out how it could work. God damn, sorry, that's impressive. Uh, that is center if I haven't seen something. God damn. Stony, you that might be a day of landing. You can try again. I doubt it. um, but yeah, that again, that thing, that system of database that I have is absolutely not something that is supposed to work, and it still works for now. Kinda. I'm not sure 100%, but it kind of works, and it's way too over-engineered for what it is, but it kind of works. So, that's the thing. Again, on device, I have uh this, like the actual thing on device is this. These three elements are just the GRDB, which is the factual data for all the perfumes, plus the Swift data, which is the user data. That's one entry from a device perspective. And then the GRDB is linked and synced through CloudKit all the time. I think. The thing that I'm kind of unsure about is it feels like I have made mistake, and I know that I have made mistakes. So this sync system is not entirely working, but it will work at some point. Nonetheless, that is where we are, at least for now. So that's a pretty good thing. That is a pretty good thing so far. So for you, again, I would say if you have like just a simple system and a simple way of you having the data in a hybrid manner of this is cached. God damn, it was close. Uh, this is cached on device. This is the last 80 entries. Um, no, I can talk. That's different. uh, still no. I can talk. I would say that's one of the superpower that I have. I understand concepts pretty easily and I can explain concepts pretty simply in a way that just makes my brain understand what I'm talking about because that's very much not the easiest thing. But that's it. I wouldn't be, yeah, I'm not able to explain and no, brain. See, dumbass. I, I am able to explain, but I'm not able to put in place. Right? So that's the wrong thing. In here, I am relying on Cursor to help me do most of the things when it comes to like visual stuff. I'm fine with that. Like that's the easiest shit. What? Like if I go into what I'm talking about for today, we have current base perfume, which is this thing, which is supposed to be our base perfume cards. And right now, I am debating getting my base perfume to have my font design to be serif, and then this thing to be italic because that's how it is. So that should work here. Yay, we have a new font. But that's all I can do. I can do the visual thing, still designer, and then later, yeah, I might be able to do other things later, but nah, still not a dev. I don't know if I will be able to do that though. If I have my layering content and then I have my layering empty state cards, but then I have the other things. I don't know. I don't use Telegram, so I don't know. I think it's blue. That's all I know. I've said that before. My chat app is Line, and Line is a very different like environment, but it's basically like WhatsApp in another environment thing. But yeah, that is the thing. No, you don't. You don't. Line is accessible from everywhere, basically. But it's just it's neat. It's neat, and also it has like all of these obviously anime related stamps and things, and we like them, so on. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. It's also a big corporation. Like it's a massive corporation. It's one of these everything app. So I have the ability to get like my phone number, my bank account, my communication, my news, my flat, paying my bills in Japan. Like I do have the ability to do all that inside of Line itself. So it's a massive thing. And it's built in collaboration with PayPay, and PayPay does have uh, things that are kind of the same thing. So, yeah. Sorry, something doesn't work. That's the tier, that's the recommendation. My recommendation to icon, which is the image that is here. There. 1 second. This is supposed to be my fucking for each. That. And that's not the thing in question. Yeah, no, that's not it. Anyways, so yeah, no, I don't know about the latest Telegram version. Oh, that me, my dumbass. In it. It is. It is. Um, Combination name is this. The thing is, I want the plus to remain not. Oh, yeah, that's not gonna work. That is not gonna work. But if I do that, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird. Um, it's gonna be wild. Like the plus in italic, I don't think that works. I mean, having the plus in italic means that it feels like it's part of the name, which is the reason why I didn't want that. And because of the combination combined thing, which is right here, I can't really have that string. As a combined? Oh. See? Still not a dev. Not a dev. If I knew, I would be able to do that. And instead of having like the combination name thingy here, I could be able to just integrate it in a way that makes more sense. But yeah. Anyways. So yeah, that's the thing in question for the database thingy. I do think for you specifically, also I'm hot as fuck. For you specifically, it might be an issue of having something that is hybrid, mostly online, with the ability to get stuff offline at times. And then later on, once you have that first version with first users, with activities and so on, putting in place a system that just store more stuff offline rather than the limited option in the beginning. Maybe you do 50 or 100 entries. Maybe, I don't know. Could be a good thing, but yeah. 1 second. I don't know. Oh, so hot. It's like 17 degrees outside, 16 degrees. And it's too hot. It's too hot for me. But yeah. Back to the cat in question. So we had other things. This one was really funny. I feel like if you are building a landing page and this is your footer, I think this is pretty good. So they are doing just you are at the bottom of the landing page. Just get the free trial, and you know, eh. That makes sense. We had other cats, as always. a lot of cats. This one was really interesting, and they have a ton of very small details in there that I like. When you look at the gray icon specifically, they have grains and things that make them look like concrete compared to the other ones. Icons that we have, like specifically that highlight on the edge is a very common pattern in concrete, and the dual grain with white particles and black particles make it look like a polymer concrete thing, which is pretty cool. But yeah, most of these have really, really good rendering and really good animation in the presentation. So as always, motion is gonna attract more people. Not saying that this is a good representation for an app icon or an icon instead of a product, but it's still pretty cool. So just wanted to, showcase that. Jill is doing the same thing based on the icon that we showcased on Wednesday, doing a lot more variations, which I like for many reasons. That candy drop transparency, I guess. There is like a lot of hoop and a lot of depth to the glass itself compared to like the liquid glass from Apple or the regular glass from Apple iOS 18, but also the Android version that we had before. There is a feeling that these things have a bit of a thickness, and it looks much better than if it was really flat. So we do like the rendering. So yeah, this one is important, and if you have been on the internet, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Affinity Designer basically teased something 4 weeks ago, 2 months ago ish. And what we have now is the new Affinity Designer that is an entirely free product. And I'm really impressed by their ability to do that. And I think it's a good marketing move. I think it's also something that showcase how much money Canva has, because it has been acquired by Canva, I think, some years ago, and so now it's living off of Canva's money, anyways. And it has a non-free plan that is basically giving you some of the Canva premium features. So anything that's online for Canva, if you have like a premium feature, is going to be given to you, and all of the AI on device thing that can happen is only if you have the like the premium tier of Canva. So that's interesting. I do feel like the free forever is a good thing. I doubt it's gonna remain free forever. You know. Um I my take on this has always been the same. For That's a good frame to stop it. My take on this has always been the same. When there is something that is free forever, it is free forever asterisk until the CEO dies. That's usually what happens. So the CEO gets removed, and then there is a new CEO that needs to make more profits, needs to introduce new things, need to be competitive with the market and so on, and introduce something that is not necessarily free. So there is a high probability of that happening. The thing is, it might not be like, it might be free for the next 5 to 10 years for sure. And then maybe there is like the spirits of the free forever lives on, and it's like 20 years, but that's about it. So we'll see. But I don't know. That's crazy. Um, what I'm feeling as well is the fact that Affinity, as far as I remembered, and I don't remember much, Affinity used to be a one-time payment, I think, or a yearly payment, I forgot. But that means overall that we had stuff that was already not the most revenue driven situation, right? We had softwares that were 3 softwares by default, and now it's combined into one, which I like, um, that had 3 licenses. And I feel like it was something related to the um, like one-time payment that I forgot. Nonetheless, what I like about this free forever or free right now situation is the fact that this is currently set to showcase that yes, it can be sustainable to have a free product that is backed by a secondary employee company like mastermind things. That's just the head company, and it sells and it makes profit through potentially ads, potentially data, like selling some data about the users. I don't know. I doubt it. We never know. Um, and or just selling the paid tier as an option. Remembering that like Figma is a free software. It's a shitty ass free software because like the paid tier makes so much more sense. But if you are someone that just needs something quickly done, the free tier of Figma is really good. And I'm guessing that the free tier of Affinity is going to be really good as well, based on the fact that it's combining everything. Like the whole system, the whole thing that we have right now is the combination of Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, um, InDesign, and I think XD or slash Figma type of thing, because their vector editor also has something. Morton, hi, welcome in. So that's really impressive, but you know, like vector, pixel, layout, customized. No, they don't have a Figma thing. Um, so yeah, it doesn't lie. It's the third time since I resetted my computer. My bad. That's on me. I'm doing pretty okay. I'm tired, and uh, I'm hurt on the arms, and it makes no sense. Like it's a it's a pain that I don't know. I don't like it. Um, to answer your question, no, I don't think it could replace Figma for what you're doing, right? So I think overall the the replacement for this is the replacement for Illustrator and Photoshop. I think that's the main replacements that were their initial thing, and then layout, which is InDesign, is a replacement as well. The fact that it's free is pretty impressive. I'm gonna have to try it out. I I have it, but haven't installed it yet. I think. Did I? Yeah, no, I didn't. Uh, so that's the replacement. There is a ton of other things in there that are pretty cool. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna replace Figma for you, based on the fact that it doesn't really have something that is for UI work. But then again, I mean, I said that before. I have a feeling that Figma is they have added like new features 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and they are pretty good features. But Figma is fighting for um, market shares that they have lost through Cursor. Basically, I said that before. I am spending so much more time in code directly than time in Figma. Like the most time I spend in Figma right now is when I'm explaining things to you, or I'm showcasing stuff that you can create in Figma when you have questions, you don't know exactly how to do something specifically, and I can just whip up something and um, and get that done. But I'm not. I I haven't been really much designing for a long time now. I mean, not a long time, but like for a long time. I'm still really good at using Figma itself. Nonetheless, the amount of time, if there was like oh, an app counter time spent on, like a screen time, but for the app over the last year, as I said, I probably have spent a, a grand total of 20 hours combined in the past year inside of Figma. And these 20 hours probably have been split in like sessions of 3 hours here and there, but that's it. So, you know, that's a thing. And I don't think Affinity is gonna do anything um, that will replace Figma, at least not now. Uh, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see. We still need to test it out. But then again, I don't do enough photo editing. I don't know it. I don't do enough graphic design directly, and I don't do editorial as often as I used to. So these three softwares have no real impact on what I'm doing on the day to day. So, you know, that's a thing. I have not tested Cursor 2. I have Cursor 2 that's installed, but I'm not using any of their features that are like the agent mode, full screen agent stuff. I don't like this. And some of the reason why I don't like it is mostly because I know how much they will charge me if I start using them. As said before, I'm currently on one of their plan that I'm making them lose money. A bit less now, but like a lot. Um, because I'm just using the agent mode that is costing like one request at a time, and that's it. It's not token based, which hopefully that's good. And then the agent is gonna do stuff for me without me knowing exactly what happens. So I would rather be here, see what happens, have some explanations and so on to make sure that, all of that is working and good. But yeah, other than that, like that's the only thing I haven't really tried. 2.0, I haven't tried their bug bot either. Like I didn't try that. I didn't try their um, cloud agent as well. It just doesn't make any sense. Right now, I'm stuck on the a tier that is really low in terms of pricing. It's pretty expensive for me, but it's like kind of low in pricing. Um, until I think the middle of next year. So I'm doing my best to not go into token based pricing. So no, haven't tried it really. Um, but yeah, I think again the the good thing about the free tier here is the fact that it is Canva integration, and it is basically Canva that is lifting the entire tool. The money that Canva is doing um, in the plans, bitch, let me get out. I hate these people. Just, give me the things. Um, their pro plans, which now unlock everything that is like affinity related for the AI sections, is $110 a year, which is like $10 a month, roughly. A bit less than that, like $10 a month. The fact that the pro plan is probably not their best seller, and that their best seller is probably something like business or enterprise based on how much money they're making. feel like this is enough to support the entirety of the team at Canva itself, but also at all of their sub apps. So Affinity is one of them. That's the reason why they can afford to make that absolutely free. That's impressive and interesting. But you know, I feel like it's an overall bold move. But then again, just to reiterate on what I said, Figma is a free tool. Like the pricing of Figma, even though it doesn't seem like it, Figma is free as well, and it doesn't have anything like that is an underlying whatever in there that says like it's free, but you need to pay for something. It's either you go in the free tier and you don't have access to some of the stuff that they do, or you go in the pro tier and you have access to everything, kinda. So like that's the type of thing that we have, and just right now, Affinity is riding the wave of everything is free and it's free forever, and you're not spending any bucks, which is good. But that's it. So yeah, that was the news. That was the news. So if you are someone that is into graphic design, editorial, and or photo manipulation, and you are currently on the Adobe suite, and you are paying for Adobe and so on, please get off and get that instead because it's free. That's the propaganda that I have for you at that instant. And then again, I don't know if that person is the CEO or if they are just a spokesperson. But based on what I'm seeing here, that is not someone that is the same age as me. Meaning that this is probably someone that's gonna die before me, even though I'm probably gonna die before most people. But again, until they just disappear from the app, they get replaced or so on, it's probably gonna remain free. And then when they disappear, the spirits is gonna go away. So, yeah. Moving on. Moving on. We had this one that I shared, like it's just underneath, but then this one, they made it finger trackable, and I love whenever they do this. The only thing that I'm seeing in the realm of finger tracking, and that sounds weird, and hand gestures manipulated data and or shaders in through the webcam, most of these are either doing this or this or this. Like that's the only three recognized features apparently. And so you can rarely take three finger and twist something, take three fingers and swipe. Like there are a lot of things that most people are not doing, but nonetheless it is really impressive to see hand gestures for navigations and for controls. So we do like to see that nonetheless. I've been following that person for a bit now, and for the past 2 days, they've been on my feed a lot more, and they are basically sharing small snippets of Swift UI code that just changed my life. In the thing that I didn't really know, but I can just add a modifier, add a different like private API things that just shows menu from source, and set that to true instead of having it like this and being on top. It's displayed underneath, so it doesn't like obstruct the selection, and that's a native stuff. So it's a very interesting thing, and I'm learning a lot. That's just for me. This one was clean. That's the latest rendering of the Apple VR personas things, and I am kind of impressed, to be honest. Um, the hair texture, like I know it's photorealistic, taken by a camera in the first place, but it's impressive to have like that level of detail on the 3D scan. So, yeah, just talking about it. That was the learning of the day. I said that many times. I was struggling to do inner shadows, and now I figured why I was struggling to do inner shadows. I thought I just needed to have dot inner inside of my shadow, but apparently I need the shadow to be inside of the foreground style in order to work and be applied to the thing. If it's outside, if it's on top of the element, it for some reason doesn't work. So that's pretty cool. I've made some experimentation with this, and yeah, this is something that I kind of want your input. If you're someone that is living on the internet, you probably know that brand called Superhuman, and the fact that now Grammarly is called Superhuman makes absolutely no sense to me. Um, Something about it that just doesn't make a lot of sense. The presentation is really good. The logo is pretty clean. But the name makes no sense because, well, Superhuman exists uh, as a as an app for emails. Um, Not this one, my bad. Um, and as technically like an home appliance um, thing. There is also Simple Human, which is similar. But yes, there is like a lot of companies that have like very similar names, and I don't know if that makes a lot of sense for me to see that superhuman brain that I've seen on other app and products already be reassociated with someone else. So we'll see. We will see. Um, on the system of things, I think I liked this stuff. Tyler is saying that they have prompted Claude to one-shot something, and Claude created this, which is pretty nice. Overall, it's pretty impressive. The presentation that they have and the thing that I wanted to talk about is this section right here where they are presenting the prompt itself. And their prompt was, can you make a UI prototype in their directory that uses a scroll view to create an old macOS Time Machine style UI with 10 elements that you can scroll through with proper Z indexing and whatnot, and make a Swift UI preview for it. That is the level of prompting slash asking the AI that I'm doing most of the times. And the point that I wanted to highlight here is that section
TG
right
underscore
here.
Khalil just resubscribed for 44 months.
God damn. That is a long time. Welcome back. Welcome on in. Thanks a lot for the resub for 44 months. That's a long time. Appreciate it. Have a good anime call, and what are you watching right now? What's the latest anime in the cycle? So yeah, that's the main point that I wanted to highlight, which is giving the assistant an anchor in visuals that it probably already knows, but it will result in something that is a bit better than if you just didn't do that. If I just said a vertical carousel with like Z indexing per items without reference, it might not necessarily work. But if I say a macOS Time Machine style UI, the assistants, the AIs, the training data, and so on will have a lot of things in them that will give them a bit of a heads up of what you're trying to achieve. Again, this is something that will only work if the thing that you're trying to achieve kind of already exists. And if you're trying to achieve something that is brand new, more complex. Or giving the whatever assistant a lot more information, that's good. What do you mean we have a hype train? What happened? Why? Why do we have a hype train now? Why is that a thing? Why is that a thing? So yeah, good stuff, good mention, good details. This one was cute. And then that's interesting. Since iOS apparently 16, 26, sorry, but until iOS 28 and 2.26, the observable macro now doesn't trigger an update, which it used to, and that's kind of weird because we as in iOS devs have been trained to know that the fucking observable is going to observe the things, and if the observable is changing, then it's going to be good, and then there will be a refresh, an update of the view, but apparently no. So that's a thing. That's a thing that happens. But yeah, that's mostly it.
TG_Khalil gifted It's the Morton a subscription. TG_Khalil gifted a tier 1 sub to It's the Morton. They have given 44 gift subs in the channel.
Why? Appreciate it. Thanks a lot for the gifted subs. And Morton, welcome on in. Why? Why? It's because you are announcing the event, announcing the trigger, I think, and then announcing the status. So you gifted a sub to someone, and status is where you are in the status of gifting subs. So it's a lot of duplicate for no fucking reason. I'm good, kinda. I have like a issue. I don't know what happens, but something is pinching me today. I guess it's the gym from yesterday, but yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think it's just soreness plus blood circulation situation. That's probably the thing. And tiredness. And stress. Probably stress. Not really. But yeah, all that thing combined. No. I think it's just the gym. The gym and the tired. It's probably the reason. Also, it's hot. I mean, for me, it's hot. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to the gym tomorrow, so it better be good, because otherwise I'm gonna scream. Yeah. I mean, if the top is sore, the bottom can work. If the bottom is sore, the top can work. It's that easy. And yeah, right now the top is kind of sore, so I'm gonna go for the legs tomorrow. That's it. That's it. The good thing is because I go in the morning, like at 6 in the morning, no one is there, and because I'm going to a gym of men, the legs machine is not necessarily uh, a queued for machine, right? So most men's and guys are in the free weight and the racks and the things, and the leg stuff is pretty good. It's pretty good. Thank you for the not hype train. I appreciate it. So yeah, that's the thing. I glanced over this one because this is basically just Butthole's city in terms of how it looks. That's kind of sad, but that's the situations of everything right now. And yeah, that can just become like an AI logo for some reason. Yeah, we have most of these things. So yeah, other than that, most of the things are good. I'm seeing a lot of really cool projects of combining in libraries that are coming in. For Yan, for example, I know you are currently watching anime. These are pretty cool. React Native components are pretty useful if you just are using React for your overall projects, and or Expo, I think, is also an option through there, and you want to just, pull out one of these things, you can. Um, so yeah, pretty useful. I don't have any interactions, like really interaction designers that I know of, um, that I know of by name. Sorry, all of these are really good. Let me see. There was one yesterday on Wednesday that was pretty neat. And I know we glanced over it. I mean, my best things for you is gonna be Spotted in Prod. It's gonna be really good because most of these things are specifically the Twitter environment. Their website is good, but it's also like kind of limited to, well, it's limited in a way. Um, but there is a ton of micro interactions and views or videos of what happens in apps that could work. That will be interesting for you to just get references, I guess. But their Twitter is really what you want, I would say. Like that thing is gonna help a lot more because it's the videos without the entirety of the interface and so on. The other one is 60 FPS, which is basically the same thing. Um, but I forgot if it's dot. Nope, it's not. What is it? Dot design? It is. um, so 60 FPS is really good. They have really like they have good sections. Like let's say I forgot if it's learning or I guess it's somewhere else. It doesn't really matter. Um, like in the education section, right now it's like a paid tier thingy. The reason why I'm saying that for the section is, I'm not there. That's not me. So that's the thing. No, the ping button is Gumroad. That's not their website. It's just Gumroad doing Gumroad thing. So yeah. But yeah, all of that is pretty cool. I think it's like $60 once. So that's worth it for everything. If you are looking for motion designers, things that are like really much just motion related, we had one. Also, it depends. It depends a lot. um, like same thing. If you just want access to their content through Twitter, that's going to be easier because it's kind of they are posting the same thing they are posting behind the paywall, but you don't have the search and the entire thing through their Twitter. So that's pretty cool for me to just see how things work and their transitions and so on. Um, but then the one that I had in mind is Mikhail. I don't know how to pronounce the name. Um, that person has a lot of very cool presentation and motion design-ish related stuff, specifically the one that I was looking at right here. That presentation for how the UI is created is a very interesting video of presentation, and there is a lot of things in there that you can learn from in terms of easing um, triggers, keyframes, and so on. So yeah. Um, so that's a thing that is pretty useful, and for yours specific things, I don't know, to be honest. Most of the people that we have in there are not necessarily micro interaction slash interaction designers. But then again, most of the things that I have are going to be on Twitter. So if you are on Twitter, you will find some people um, that will give you that for sure. Uh, like mainly because you want like micro interactions. So that makes sense. Yeah, you have a lot of things to scroll with and look at for sure. But you will end up in the paywall situation really quickly. Not saying it's a bad thing that you need to pay for them, but you know, you can get stuff for free. It's a bit better. But yeah, no, 60 FPS is pretty good, and Spotted and Prod is pretty good as well. At the end of the day, at least for me, it's going to be stuff like this, which we kind of talked about before. Um, and it's just simply specifically for you, simply going into a website and figuring out what the fuck is happening, right? So for here, for example, the micro interaction that they have in each of their books is extremely simple. Like I can break it down in 3 seconds. On hover, the book gets bigger by a smidge. The shadow gets bigger by a bigger smidge, like 2 smidges, and it raises up a tad. So when you're looking at that hover state, right, it just grows as if it's lifted from the floor. So the shadows grows because you need to represent that lift and the creation of this thing. And that's about it. Like it's just a scale effect of 0.5%, or maybe like it's a 1% scale effect, even though that seems 1% seems big. And then the shadow needs to change to be like just a bit bigger so that it's more raised from the floor. That's the only thing that happens. The implementation of this and the fact that you ensure that it looks natural and normal and organic and proper is on you into tweaking these values of, is it a curve that is like an ease out? Is it a curve that is an ease in? Is it an ease in and out? Is it like a very linear thing on hover? I don't fucking know. It depends. Is it a bit of a bouncy transition? Maybe. So, all of that is the type of thing that you need to do to make sure that you understand a bit more micro interactions and interactions into apps and other platforms to make them make sense to you. The thing that we talked about, and you were not here, or maybe you were lurking, um, was that. So I know you probably don't watch TikTok either, but just go there for the sake of go there. Um, and basically, that post right here is giving you a set of videos that will teach you everything about After Effects. And I said that when I showcased this post last week. Last week, 2 weeks ago. um, with the exact same thing. Not 2 weeks ago, last week. God damn, it doesn't matter. You don't care about After Effects on this. You care about understanding the concepts that are behind what is used in After Effects. So, in the initial thing, the welcome to After Effects is going to just give you a bit of an idea of what is After Effects, what is the environment, and what are the tools that are in there. It's a 1 hour video. It takes a long time, but it's pretty cool. This one is going to help you understand what are keyframes. It's a very short video, a 4-minute video that you can just watch right now. The time that I've been speaking, you would have finished the thing already. This one is for mask. Masking is really useful and it's going to be really overused over time. Motion tracking is not necessarily something that you care about specifically for micro interactions, unless you want micro interactions that are tracked to your fingers, tracked to other things. Most of these things are going to be After Effects specific, but they are going to give you as much like foundational understanding of the lingo that is used, the how it's put in place, and how to put it in place properly so that it looks normal and natural. That's the first one. The second one is, and I don't know if we have it here. I don't think we do. Yeah, I don't think we do. The second one is going into, and we talked about that before. I think you already have watched that video, but I don't know. It is, motion. I think it's Motion Design 101 or Principle of Motion Design. This whole playlist is the same thing. This is also something that is like After Effects fundamental in a way, but it will give you every understanding of why motion works, and it's not in interfaces, but it's already something. And then fuck, I forgot the name. Is it Principle of Animation? Maybe? Yes. This one is also a very good one for what it is, and highly recommend it all the time just because it's good. This will basically give you all the information that you need to have to understand why, like, we are doing some different spacing, different elongation, different transitions in the shapes in order to make them look more natural. Because if you're using something that is like more or less static, you end up with something that feels wrong. And if you have too much emphasis on the element itself, it just doesn't make any sense. So that's a good concept, and so you will have a better understanding of what you need to figure out to do at the end of the day. Um, but it's really good. Um, Again, going back to what I was saying about 16 minutes ago now, uh, all of these videos, all of these things that are extremely specific, as in this one is for motion design, as in animation and like drawing and cartoon animation and so on. And the previous one were mostly uh, motion design, as in graphical motion design, not necessarily something that is um, animation, even though they are both motion design related. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They are going to be targeted to a very specific topic, and you need to abstract that in your head. You need to make sure that you understand, okay, so that transition, the thing that I just showcased right there with the square is the best representation. If you wanted to squash that thing, most people would just say, well, it's going to the floor, so it's going to be a bit shorter. That simple thing of making sure that it's shorter and wider by the proper amount makes the squish more natural, because there is displacement, and these are things that you only know if you have learned motion design, as in animation, and or if you have watched something like these bitches. If you've ever watched one of their videos, that's the main important thing, you probably know how stuff kind of works, and you will understand a lot of how the animation needs to happen. Like when you look at shit like this, or if we go back to some of their first videos and so on, you will have, we go back to that, you will have the previews and the understanding of how a face is supposed to deform based on the physics. And then when you are creating your animation, it's basically the same concept. So, in terms of that, right, at full speed doesn't seem like much, but here you will see exactly frame by frame how things are getting displaced. Like the entirety of the face is displaced by a lot when it's like frame by frame situation, even though they just sent by hand, you know, to the face. So you can see how the skull is deforming and displacing itself with such a small hand toss situation. With all of that in mind, this is like a face. Obviously, you might not have a face in your interface. But all of that is the type of thing that just, that's the wrong thing. That's just makes sense and would need to be understood by yourself when you are creating the animation. When I'm going to Liquid Glass, which is like the latest thing from Apple and so on, these buttons, right? They have that kind of jiggly thing. If I'm pressing and moving them around, they have that kind of organic feel to them, specifically when they're bouncing back to their initial position. They have all of that. That is not something that a lot of people would necessarily think about in their button itself, because having that jiggly physics and the understanding of how things are supposed to be deformed when movement happened is thing that is coming from the organic and like the regular thing, but also it's something that most people will never see because most people don't do this. We are not like pulling on a button and then trying to see how it's deformed itself and so on. We just click on the thing. That's it. So nonetheless, what happened when we click on the thing? Well, there is a displacement on the edges, there is a displacement on the color and so on. But, you know, that kind of froze. So, yeah. Um, this is just Swift UI, by the way. This is just a Swift basics thing, and it works. But that is the native stuff. No, Swift, not CSS. Not CSS. That's me. So it's basically in there. If I just have this, like kind of looked at used earlier, and I'm creating like a button that is using the glass effect, that button right here is gonna have the whole system. So it has a bit more or less like flexibility to it. But it's just I'm adding the material and the material is reacting and behaving in a very specific way. If I wanted to have stuff that are like more specific, more experiments, weird things, I could. I don't. Shit, that's this one. And the transition study, for example, right, is a pretty interesting system so that I can have a real understanding of how each of these values are behaving, you know? That's the type of thing that we have. I don't think we have like the particle shaders in there. Like we just have the particles, which are just particles each here. What? Nonetheless, options. And so all of that is made with metal and UI kit and native stuff. Not really, but kinda. You might be interested in this.
TG_Khalil just gifted 5 subs.
Appreciate the 5 subs. Thanks a lot. Who did you get though? That's the question before I answer that question. You got people that I can't see apparently. God damn. I think Tita, Lee's. Congrats. Terrell, Merlin, and Bry. Oh, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. I appreciate it. You probably follow Dive Club as well. You know, I mean, you probably do. I don't know. It depends. Who? That's my question. I guess this one is gonna be the thing that specifically because of your last question of like, how to make a standout hero section. This one, even though now it's paid and so on, is going to give you everything, and the way that they are talking about it and presenting it makes a lot of sense. So it's not GSAP, it's nothing, it's just like OpenGL and other 3JS environment. It's built inside of Unicorn Studio, it's pretty cool, but that whole thing will make whatever UI you have um, feel stand out. Tinitita, hi, welcome on in. I hope you're good. Um, so that's one of them. That's one of the thing. The thing that I have a bit of an issue with these ones, right, is most of these people, including the host, are not camera trained enough to be on video. And I have a lot of issues with that. So a lot of these people are designers and or devs and or creatives that are not often in the spotlight, so they don't really know how to explain things, or they are not necessarily teachers and so on. So you end up with conversations that are kind of lackluster in engagement, lackluster in voice pitches and so on. But you have like really good designers in there. So Jason is one of them that have been working at like Apple and other platforms as well, and have been building things that I've used as reference many times because it's pretty cool. And he has this kind of camera trained things because of Apple and the other platforms that he worked with. But a lot of these people don't have that, which is kind of sad. Um, so to answer your question, yes, JSAP is good, but also not necessarily the thing that you need to have. Um,
Fighting these machines for as long as I remember. Humanity is at the brink of extinction. We do not have more time. We are losing this fight. But today we have an opportunity. So I won't hesitate to give us the peace we have been longing for. I hope this works.
mm, I guess you. I mean, I guess you're gonna need some stuff like the motion design reels. Um, like it really depends on many things, but I guess like um, you know, Kaneki, hi, welcome on in. Um, it's not that high. It doesn't reset every day, so that's something. Um,
TG underscore Khalil gifted Kaneki underscore Skywalker a subscription. TG
today's
underscore Khalil gifted a tier 1 sub to Kaneki underscore Skywalker. They have given 50 gift subs in the channel.
today's a gift sub day. I appreciate it. 50 in total, not today, but like 50 in total. Congrats. Most of the people that I'm following that are Japanese that have doing or that are doing motion design and so on. God damn it.
Kaneki underscore
Appreciate.
Skywalker cheered Dex 399. Thanks.
Appreciate the bits as well. Um, so that's also something that you can like have and present and use as a reel. And you know, that's the type of animation that you would expect to have in a reel. But it really depends on who you are, the type of thing that you're building, and what you're creating, on how you're presenting stuff. So, like, for me, something like this would work. Um, because that's shit. It doesn't match what I do. I don't do animation. So presenting something with animation just doesn't make any fucking sense to me. And presenting static presentation, like I showcased earlier, the first thing that I sent you that is above here, right about, god damn it, right about here. Why is it always when we look at something and then I try to find it again, we can't find it again? It's always the case. God damn. I mean, even that, like that's kind of shit to me. Uh, like I get it, it stands out, it moves, and the people that have no fucking idea of how that is could be wowed by that. But then, specifically for Reels, there is an expectation and secondary things coming from like someone that is potentially hiring you, that you have the skills to do that and you love to do that because you've done that to present your work. And therefore, if I'm showcasing my work in this way, people are going to expect me to do that as well. If I'm just like doing shit like this and I'm just recording my screen and I'm showcasing what I have, that's it. There is no expectation of the motion design that goes with it. Again, I went to school for motion design, so I know how to do these things, but that pissed me off. So I'd rather just do the thing directly and present the thing directly. But like shit like this would be the best representation for motion design reel of the creation of the content. But that's it. Like nothing else. Nothing else. The usual thing has always been the same, right? It is simply do not present things that you don't want to do. So if I go here and I'm showcasing an app design, a dashboard design, some branding and other software things, it is because these are the type of thing that I like to do. If I go back into some of my first portfolio, as in I forgot if that's the one, it is, and I think I removed most of them. In my draft, for example, not my stats, my drafts. In my drafts, I have things that are illustration based. And that makes no sense because I'm not someone that does illustration anymore. Even though I used to do drawings and stuff, I kind of stopped. So that's not on my portfolio anymore because it's not something that I will do again, unless really asked for. But it's mostly something that I can do and will not necessarily just showcase by default. But most of these things I'll just, it's not a website that I share to hiring managers and so on. But it's just like, oh, I've just experimented with 3D, and that's where I landed. I experimented with branding, and that's where we landed, and that makes sense. I experimented with illustration of papers, and that's where I landed, and that's about it. But this is not what I will send to any project manager or something. And same thing for my Dribble account. Even though that works, right? That's the same situation. You arrive here and you see Like, all right, so that person is able to recreate it like realistic-ish illustration with no issues inside of Figma. Is that something that we care about? Not really. Cool, whatever, move on. They've done some UI design. This is mostly something that we are interested in. So that's something that we might like ask them about as a candidate. And then they have done a lot of icons and inside of the apps. That is something that I can do. I like to create icons, so that makes sense to me. If I go back to this, for example, um, even though it's just like one image, just showcasing that is something that makes sense. This is something that I can create. This is something I can use and present and so on. So, all of that makes a ton of sense. So in the beginning, and for you specifically, for anyone that is like brand new to design, brand new to the environment of working the creative industry and so on, you need to do everything. Like, you don't really have a choice. You're specifically now, you don't have the luxury that I have of being specialized. People come to me for specific things, as in they want me to do some branding, they want me to do some dashboard related things, applications in global terms, and overall UI and UX design. However, in the beginning of my career, I was doing everything. And like, again, when you looked at my portfolio, you had illustration, you had print, you had 3D, motion design, sound design, like basically everything under the sun available to showcase that person that you are looking at right now as a portfolio and do whatever the fuck you want them to do. And at some point, after like 3 to 5 years, I decided to say, well, these things I don't like to do. I can still do them, but I don't like to do them. So I'm just going to remove them from my portfolio and just show the thing that I like to do. In the beginning, you don't have that luxury. You need to be able to say, I can do whatever the fuck you want. It's going to piss me off, but I can do whatever the fuck you want. That way you get a job. And then after like 3 years, yeah, you can have more flexibility to just say, well, I'm mostly interested in UI, UX, and interactions and motion design and so on. You can still do that by default. You can still have like some sort of a motion design oriented portfolio, but it's not necessarily going to be the easiest sell, because hiring a junior specialist doesn't work. You hire a junior designer because they are interested in mostly everything and they want to do mostly everything, and they are cheap and they will learn and so on. But I will never hire like a new grad surgical, like heart surgery doctor. Like, if the person, even though still safe and all that, but a new grad heart surgeon, probably not. A veteran heart surgeon that has like a track record of everything going right every time, I'm probably gonna go there, yeah. And that's the thing that they are specialized in. So for you as a newcomer to the creative industry of design, if you were to say tomorrow, I'm specialized in motion design and UI, UX, like micro interactions, and that's what I do, either, and you have options, either you come out of it as like cracked, and the things that you're creating are just brilliantly executed, brilliantly presented, and it just blows away everyone every time. That's probably never going to be the case in the first year. I don't doubt your skills, but I doubt your ability to achieve something that is at that level in the first year. So, yeah, I think some of the stuff that I had, and I don't think we're gonna have a ton of them in there, specifically because of titties and others. But I don't know if I have. I don't know if I have a lot. I mean, Tokyo is a pretty good example, potential. Right, this is very static, and then there is a micro interaction right here. One single micro interaction. Then you move on to lots more, and then after that it's going back to static, and then you have a bit of a presentation of how the app behave. Another one. And then you have micro interactions here, or mostly like an animation for an event. Some of the other animation that happens. But most of it is static presentation of what will be inside of the app. And then at the end, you have basically a full understanding of what that is and what it could be and so on, right? But it's a focus on the entirety of the app creation. So that's the thing. I guess Toki is not necessarily the potentially the best presentation of what I had in mind. I have like others in mind, but right now, based on Behance being Behance and not loading more fucking thing, I doubt. Azulka, hi. Walk on in. At least today you arrive before I raid. How are you? How's the day going? You arrive when the button was pressed.
TG Khalil gifted Azulka a subscription. TG Khalil gifted a tier 1 sub to Azulka They have given 51 gift subs in the channel.
Today is just a gift sub fest. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot for a gifted sub. Ah, merci pour l'abonnement cadeau. Sorry. That's so bad. That's so French. I can't find the thing that I'm looking for, obviously, because I'm looking for stuff. Yeah, no, that's gonna be way too much. See that? That's simple. That's potentially good presentation, good motion design. I'm looking for pop mostly because pop is going to be much better as a presentation, but it's been a while and yeah. Anyways, but it is very simple animation, very simple transition, very simple thing that makes the whole project more interesting simply because it just moves in the right way, the right places, and not everything moves all the time.
TG Khalil gifted Aiden J. Bennett a subscription. TG Khalil gifted a tier 1 sub to Aiden J. Bennett. They have given 52 gift subs in the channel.
Or closing segment. So these are pretty interesting as well. This is a motion folio, so it just shows you the motion design that they have created. Not necessarily like in application, in website motion design, but still, small thing that you can have. These ones are animations. And the one that I'm looking for is a presentation of in-project motion for presentation. So that's something I guess I could go into the Xiaomi website as well, because that's working as a concept. But overall, I think it's going to be at the top. Yeah, that's not gonna... that simple? But it's presentation, and it's mostly like presentation of the thing that you have done, not necessarily like micro interaction. So I know it's different. I know it's a combination of both. And I know that it's not necessarily what you're looking for in terms of what you want to create, but it's that that makes sense. And the other one is the one that I shared with you before, which is somewhere in the resources or reading list or somewhere. I always forget, but it is somewhere in there. And we talked about it before. I'm guessing it's going to be the inspiration based on me. But this one, and you already have read that, I think. What do you mean you have to leave? You just arrived. Welcome. Have a good rest of your day. I'll see you soon. See you soon. So yeah, this one, transition animation, is, one of the things that you basically need to learn. And it's really simple. That's the thing that is pretty good. So, coffee. It has like this whole system, and this whole thing that I'm showcasing has a lot of really good presentation of how the animation is going to work, and what is a fade, what is a curve, and so on. And it has a lot of them to just understand how things are, and how animation work. And they have done just this article. So sometimes they have like more stuff available so that you can just read more. Sometimes it's not the case. In this case, that's not the case. This one, which we talked about before from Benji, is kind of the same thing. They have like a ton of micro interactions, presentation, how things work, what makes sense, and so on, and inspiration for how the animation work. So that's a thing. Sorry, that is a thing. So for the animation, you have a lot of options as well in all of that. But yes, this is the representation that you might be interested in, for sure, to get your track record of transition and presentation and so on. It is very simple, and there is like a lot of them that just make sense, help you, and all of that is a really good thing. I would say maybe in the inspiration there is a lot more animation-based stuff, but that's about it. There was another one before, but I forgot. Yeah, there was another one before in terms of the transitions and the thing that we had, but like we kind of removed them. In the reading list, there is a lot of them. In the thing that you can follow if you wanted to, because you can. The Josh just created a new course that's called the Whimsical Animations. This is made for CSS, JavaScript, and all those. And so that is something that I can vouch for. Josh is always good. So, just learning the animations in there is really nice. You can see like a lot of these things just make the website more interesting and interactive and fun and so on. So so yeah, all of that is or are things that I would highly recommend you to just check out and see if it's like making sense for you, not making sense for you. But yeah, that's the type of thing that I would highly recommend you to just take a look at least. Because it works. It's not doing well because I'm not doing any marketing for it, but it's doing. But yeah, like that is good. This one is good, but mostly presentation. As shared earlier, like they have a ton of things that are basically reels that you can take as a representation and as an example. Like these ones are 5 seconds, 6 seconds video. You don't need more than that.
Ermale_Cran is now following.
Emily, hi, welcome in. How are you? Who are you? How did you find the stream? Thanks a lot for the follow. For the chat? No, for the follow. I hope you're good. I hope you're good. From a product design point, an investment income point, it's not. It needs more stuff. It hasn't been updated in a while. That's kind of sad from a product design point of view. It's still in the old design, old being iOS 18, and it's working. It does the thing that it was supposed to do, and it, I have my interactions, I have my stuff, but the new knowledge that I now have and the other thing that I, think about and so on will basically just make things better, at least for me, to make everything work. So let me just break everything. Yes. So these teeny tiny animations, for example, sorry, straight. These are things that make sense.
TG_Khalil
like...
gifted Ermale_Cran a subscription. TG_Khalil gifted a tier 1 sub to Ermale_Cran. They have given 53 gift subs in the channel.
All of that, for example, are stuff that needs to be updated, but also it pisses me off to need to have support for iOS 18 and iOS 26. So it's probably not going to happen very soon. And the Perfume app has been released, which is really good. We have that on the stores. I have reached and passed the 100 downloads in total in the first week, which is pretty cool. It's been launched on Monday. So, that's good. That's better. I'm working on some teeny tiny small design stuff. I don't think there will be a lot of future iterations, to be honest. The only thing that this needs to get,
Panamatius
and
just resubscribed for 37 months.
goddamn, Kane, welcome back. How are you? How's the day going? Yeah, the hair has changed. Thanks a lot for the resub, I appreciate it. I feel like you were at 37 last month already, so what happened? Is it like one of these days where tomorrow is going to be a 38 again? It's probably the case. Um, like there is not a lot of thing that I can have and add to the product itself. I can only improve on stuff that already exists. So these pages, for example, needs to be reworked a bit because that doesn't make a lot of sense. And the understanding from a user point of view is okay, but not the greatest. You know, it's fine, but it's not the greatest. So I can change the design of that to be more aligned and so on. It's a matter of border radius and others. But yeah, that's the thing. Android is so on the no activity list that like we have 383 downloads, which is not nothing, but it's kind of nothing compared to the 2000s that are on iOS. And there is 183 active users on Android with roughly 5 sessions. So that's the thing. But yeah, I disagree with that. Numbers are numbers. I have Affinity. I haven't Weave. Not yet. I'm waiting for someone specific. The thing that is annoying, kinda, not really. iOS got released in November 2024. In January 2025, Android was released. So they basically have a month in between the two of delay, right? In that year, 4 year, the iOS version got roughly 2,000 downloads with almost $200 of profit. And the Android version, in the same amount of time, with 2 months of difference, got 300 downloads and $12 in profit, which needed to be cut for the taxes and so on. So basically 10. So there is like a 170% more on iOS compared to Android in terms of profit and revenue, and in terms of active users, there is like 10 times more users on iOS compared to Android, if not more than that. Not 10, 100 times. Sorry, my bad. So, I don't think the Android version is going to get like a lot of updates. And the Android people are going to complain about it, which is fine by me. But, like that's the thing. Going back to where I am currently in my logged in, I'm not. This one is brand new. It has been released on Monday. It has data up to 2 days ago. That's how the thing works, like 29th up to the 29th. In that amount of time, I got 100 downloads. Someone already bought the app. Most people have used the app at least once. 3 people had crashes. Based on the logs, mostly they are coming from me, so that's fine. And and there is like 2,000 people that have watched the App Store panels, which means that in 2,000, just 100 downloading the thing is not really good. So there is an issue with the conversion rate, but that's fine. That's just the app on iOS. It doesn't exist on Android, but it probably will never exist on Android just because of how Android function and how annoying it is to build. So, you know. It depends on the thing that you're using, but most of the website builder, if you're looking to build a website with Framer, for example, good example. Ah, got it. If you're building a website with Framer, you will have the analytics section right there. Oh, god dang. So, all of that is pretty useful. Makes a lot of sense. And it kind of helps. If you want third-party things, I guess Google Analytics is the best option. Also schizophrenic. Well, come on in. How are you? How's the day going? But yeah, GA is the best option. Maybe not the one that is in Japanese, but yeah. Google Analytics is going to be the best option. It's a bit complex to grasp in the beginning if you don't have any understanding of how it works, which is fine, but it is a bit tricky at first. So just learn that if that's necessary.
TG_Khalil gifted schizophrenic web developer a subscription. TG_Khalil gifted a tier 1 sub to schizophrenic web developer. They have given 54 gift subs in the channel.
Good. You're now at 54. Congrats. Congrats. But yeah, no, that's the main thing. Again, going back to your real thing that you talked about, this is a 2-second clip. And that is enough to grab the attention of the people that are scrolling the feed, make them interesting, and making me interested in it. Because, I see the effect, I see the things. Maybe I'm looking for someone that is able to do typography effect inside of After Effects for video or something, and I see that in my feed, and that's exactly what I was looking for. And therefore I can just contact them and have the information that I need really quickly. And that's like, again, it's a 1-2 seconds clip that just give me the information that I need about the person. And I'm like, oh, cool. I know exactly that they will be able to do what I need to have. Shit like this is basically the same concept. This is like a 45-second, 1-minute transition animation thing to show you exactly what it is inside of the app, but that's a way different presentation style than what you're trying to achieve. So, you are looking for micro interactions rather than anything else. So something like this, for example, would be making a lot more sense potentially, even though this is kind of bad, but kind of bad because of what it is. Um, but like this is the micro interaction that you want to present. It's the same video 3 times, you know. It grabs the attention. This is the same thing. Micro interactions of showcasing exactly how things work and how the fields are presented, how the animation or the presentation is like showing up. And it's just that's the base thing. That is the base thing that you need in order to present the micro interactions. Like, this one is a bit more complex in terms of what it is and how it works, in the sense that this is something to show you a feature inside of the app that basically says, we can use the camera to take a picture and then select the text and paste the text, or have that directly added to the app and so on. It showcased many things. It showcased the dev skills on this one, not that much, but dev skills. It showcased the animation on the app when it happens to be taken, right? It goes through. And then it showcased the flow of acquiring that snippet of picture. And that's it. So that's the whole system. That's the whole thing. And it's probably coded. Presentation of how the app works, presentation of how the system works, presentation of what is accessible and available in the app. There's no skill in the animation of the video itself. Like the presentation video, the only thing that is kind of different than usual is that shadow at the bottom of the mock-up of the phone. But everything in there is just interaction design and behavior. So, nothing else. This is like just animation, just motion design, nothing else. It's a way different thing. And so for what you're trying to achieve, you just want something that is screen recording of what's happening and showcase that. So obviously, I'm going to show you that. What I'm showcasing on my side on TikTok, for example, is this. I'm talking about the new feature that I'm working on. I'm showcasing the new fonts. I pointed out that it's not like just the screen recording. And I change view to show the rest and how it's displayed. I changed the view rendering so that it just shows you, or shows the users, how the thing will behave and be presented when the font is changed. And that's about it. Just presenting the thing. I could not be here and just have the recording and be good with it. But no, it's a very simple 30 seconds, 40 seconds video. And be done with it. So overall, that's the thing. Like, it's the only thing that you need. Yeah, but that's just, you need to build the thing on your own in order to get like that transition, that animation, that thing, that whatever. Right here, for example, to just, on click, have some animation, on drag, on long press, on stuff. But does it need to be, I wish I had that person on quick dial here. I know that's not the case. Hmm. I doubt it. There is one user that I showcased before that has created a mockup inside of Figma, I think. Um, and is basically, I don't know if it's true, I don't know if it's fake. I don't really care. But basically, they have a full or visually fully working app inside of a Figma prototype, or at least from what they're saying. And said Figma prototype just contains everything. So they can just run the thing and play with it, and it runs as if it was the right thing. So you can just do that. Like, for example, if I go into, um, it's going to be kind of different, but if I go into recents, I guess this one has stuff. I am now unsure. Um, God damn, that's heavy. Um, Let me try that one just for the sake of it, but I doubt it can play. But we never know. um, so I can just do that. If I want to, I can just navigate through things and click on specifics if that's an option. Like right now, that's not the case because of how things are. But overall, I have the micro interactions, I have the presentation, and I just can showcase stuff, even though it's minimal and potentially like not necessarily exactly what we're looking for the presentation itself. But I can just say, well, I'm working on the extension of the sidebar. What do you think of this? Does that make any sense? Is that an animation that makes sense? Would it be better if it was like bouncy and then I can just showcase the same recording or screen recording with the bouncy animation instead? Like that's the type of thing that I can do. I think the potential best option presentation thing that I had was this one, which is a way longer presentation. Tickle, hi, what about it? So this thing, for example, is it has nothing, right? And then it has the animation, and then I can decide to click on stuff, change the data, um, send to the animation, the things. I made a mistake or something. It doesn't really matter, and then I get my transition, right? And that's just a Figma prototype thing that just from here, I have an automated transition animation thing that just going to work, not work, whatever. I don't really care. But yeah, it's just it's a simple thing. And you can just do that. You can just do that, present your project, your animations, your potential transitions, and so on. And just do that is this. I have screen 1, followed by screen 2, followed by screen 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, done. The design has been done once, and I just need to make sure that everything is working and make sure that the transition for the prototype is on point and has everything in there. Denny, hi, welcome in. So that's the thing. I remember that like the onboarding that I did was the same system where it's just a matter of presenting and showcasing the right like the right transitions, the right things. So like it's an option, it's a thing, but Yeah. It is not dyed. No, it is the original color. That's the natural color, Danny. Not but it's got, yes. I'm sad about it. I don't like it. I don't like it yet. I will like it next week. It happens. Um, but yeah, no, most of the thing, right? Danny's on YouTube, yes. Um, most of the things are gonna be as simple as they can be, and it's just a matter of linking the correct buttons to the correct things. So you want to make sure that if you click on something, it goes into the right view. You want to make sure that if you minimize something or you activate a toggle, or whatever, it just does the job as it's supposed to. That's your that's your goal inside of building stuff. Um, yeah, I get that, Denny. I get that. I understand. But yeah, no, that's the type of thing that I've done. And going back to small things, it is a matter of ensuring that you understand the animation potential. Going back to the first video that I shared in this chat to just um, show you what is available and use that. So a very, very simple example, um, in this, that, nope. God damn. I have micro interactions here for no fucking reason, right? I have one here. Is it good? Is it bad? Should it be changed? I don't know. Do I care? No. Is it fun? Yes. Is it good enough? Nah, it could have been better. You know. But could have been better. So that's the thing. You could do all of that into your entire system, and that's all you need. Like these micro interactions of having just the colors of my icons, use the main color of the app right there on hover, doesn't make any change. Like you have that button right there that just send you here. So, you know. Welcome back on Twitch, Denny. But yeah, like these are the type of thing that you can have to make sure that you have like a good enough micro interactions and so on. That's the only thing that you need to do. And then it's a matter of screen recording whatever you have and showcasing that whatever you have. If that's your goal, if your goal is to showcase like your
TG_Khalil gifted Denny $1 a
your skills.
subscription. TG_Khalil gifted a tier 1 sub to Denny $1. They have given 55 gift subs in the channel.
One more. Uh, and so the fact that you're doing it in code, the fact that you're doing it in Figma, the fact that you're doing it somewhere else doesn't really change anything. The goal for you is to showcase what you have in your, like, as a skill. And that's it. Yeah, the guy wants to get like to 56 gifted subs. For um, no reason. And this is one of the other things that we kind of talked about before. But this is a presentation of what I have done and what I did specifically in there. So I have my main screen. That's what you have. That's where you start. If you hover somewhere, right about here, when the thing is hovered, you can see that the background of that thing is going to change. I have notes on hover, right? The column is going to change, that is going to change as well, and so on. Here, I have secondary action. So on click, I get the border is changing to blue for the highlighted version, which is basically the same thing as Figma highlights right now when I'm hovering it. When I click on it, and the field needs to be bigger because there is the need for like more tools, more stuff, more whatever, it expands. That's the defined design of this specific element. And then same thing, if I'm clicking on it to edit it, I have the blue outline. All of that is the type of thing that you kind of need to do. God damn, that's the wrong key. In order to showcase your potential animation. And then you record yourself doing exactly that inside of Figma. And that's it. You have exactly what you need. And you can showcase your micro animations and micro transition very easily by simply showing that recording. I think the best option, or the best option is kind of debatable, but one of the things that I've done that I showcased before, which was, I guess it's either here or the other one, and I have like a full recording, but like this is one of the things that just makes sense, at least just makes sense to me. It shows you everything, right? I'm here. I want to add an item to my whatever. It's the first use. So on first use, I have that element that is popping in. And then I have the thing that is, available, selected, whatever. Let's say I select Smart Excel. That's my second use. So on my second use, I have the same interface. It makes sense. On my third use, however, I add a new item. I don't have the description anymore. I don't have the explanation of what that new feature is. I just have these two are new features. Right? Going back to here, I had some explanations. Now, after the second use, I don't have the explanation anymore. Just have that. Fourth use, same thing. Fifth use, and beyond, I don't have the highlighting of these things because it makes absolutely no sense. You, as the user, have been using these things 5 times. There is no more need for me, as the app, to showcase it as a highlight. You know what they do. You've been using it. You like them, whatever. And that new badge is going to remain new for the remainder the remainder of the time that that app feature specific is going to be considered new. So that's usually a month. But if you are using them every day because it's exactly what you needed for your product, then it's just gonna work. But that is what a new user will see because it makes sense to them. And if for some reason they decided to check other thing and not necessarily like click on the new features and so on, they should see this in highlighted mode after a while, like after a month. It's not new anymore, but still highlighted because these are features that we want you to use. So you push things up. That's exactly what you need to do in order to create your transition, your presentation, your whatever. And so again, It's as simple as that. I have each of my screens presenting each of the steps, and it's working. And I have other things that do the exact same concept or the exact same work of presenting stuff to you as the user. Like, let's say here I want to add a new field. That's an animation. There is a transition that needs to happen in between the click on the plus and the transition. But the reason why I wanted to create this, and I created this thing to have everything in place, was saying, basically, once you have created a new field, which is going through the entirety of this process, which is explained entirely in like this flow right here, what I want to know, or what I want the dev to know, is that from here, when they have created a new custom field, when they click on create custom field, the transition is this. It goes back to the initial view, right here. It expands.
TG underscore Khalil gifted L trademark a subscription. TG
Good.
underscore Khalil gifted a tier 1 sub to trademark. They have given 56 gift subs in the channel.
Congrats. Thanks a lot for the gifted subs. I appreciate it today. So here, what I want to have is expansion, animation, flashing, release. These are the steps of the animation. And so by having all of this displayed in foresight right here, plus explanation, plus recording, plus discussion with my devs, I should, at the end of the day, have that animation in the app. It didn't happen, but that was the goal. So yeah, it's just that simple, and I'm doing that for most of the things. When I know that I have a tiny transition, right, that is in need of specifics and specific presentation, I'm going to create all of the steps so that the devs that I'm working with will have all of the potential understanding of all of these steps together, like as a standalone element and as an in-app element, so that they can really understand like what's happening. If I go back to this thing, for example, so I'm going from here, I'm hovering the field, I'm clicking on the field, I'm getting into the new field, creating new fields, ask me to type a new name or something, select a field type. I have all of my field types that are right about here. Then I'm selecting one of the field types. It's going to change right about there, which is good. I see the transition. I select the name. When I click on create new, I now have the field that is presented in the drop down, right? That's the whole flow that we have. And then it's there, and that's it. That's all we have. Cool. That transition right here is drastically changing, and there is no animation transition presented because I can't have all of these right there. It makes too much screens and too much duplicate. So in order to make that make sense, at the time in the timeline of that transition and that specific feature, I'm adding the new field reveal animation thing at the top, which basically does the exact same thing. I have all of my fields and all of my screens, with screen A, it's going to be around here. When I click on add field, it expands with a line on the left side. It slides through. It flashes twice. And then it releases. And the thing is, because it's a new field, it's automatically active. And because it's automatically active, it is in the purple state. Because that makes it. And so with all of that, the devs have all of the features, all of the transition, all of the thing that they need. And if they are more curious and they want to see exactly how the animation works, I just have the animation preloaded. They can just click play, have the things, be done, and, play with it, loop the thing, see if it works with them, and so on. But that's it. Like, again, you don't need drastic things. You just need each of the steps. If you go back to the video that I showcased earlier, and the second one that I asked you to watch, which is the learning keyframe or keyframing in timeline, each of these screens are basically the keyframes on the entire timeline that I have through Figma. I don't have a timeline because that's not a thing that Figma provides. We'll probably provide that soon, but for now it doesn't. And so each of these screens are basically keyframes for the animation that I'm trying to build. And based on the fact that Figma has some auto layout transitions and things, I'm just making sure that all of my animations make sense and that they are properly triggered by the right elements and so on. And it just, it made sense. So, stuff like this. That's the type of thing that you want to do, or at least that you want to achieve. And again, it doesn't require you to do a lot. It just requires you to do things that keyframe wise would make sense. What do you mean? You have them. What do you mean? Which icons? Are you talking about this? You should have this in the... I mean, wherever. That's the first thing. But if you need to get like the icons, that's highly recommended. You select your icons. Like, let's say you need these three. You just click here. Export 3 in SVG. That should be there by default. So, yeah. Raticide, hi, welcome in. How are you? How's the day going? What do you mean it's not? This one doesn't have the export. You want this as an SVG, you click the plus. And then you can export the thing as an SVG. That's it. That's all you need. If I send you the zip with everything, you will have way too much stuff for what you need. It is the easiest thing. You can also do Control or Command E when you are in dev mode. If you're like in inspector mode, you have the ability to just find things. I remember that there is like options for you to just export stuff directly from there. But yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. The thing that I was doing though here, and we showcased that before. If I have a frame right here, and I'm creating a square in the center. Let me place it in the center, make that 200 by 200. Make sure it's centered, right? That's cool. We have rectangle 1, center frame, whatever. You want your transition to be doing this. You need the thing to rotate, and you want that to be a bit red, right? The transition, the thing that you want to do, is go into prototype. We zoom in a bit the UI so that you can see it. You click on the thing, you click on the plus that is on the side, you say it goes there. On click, it's not instant. It's going to be a smart animation, and it's going to take exactly 1200 milliseconds because that's long, and that's long enough for us to do the thing. So on click, it's going to do the thing. Cool. I want that to be on hover, as it makes sense. So while hovering, that's happening. If I'm removing the key, it's going to move away. Cool. How does it work? Does it do the thing that I said it should do? Let's just check. So I'm here, on hover, it just rotate. Cool. What else can I do? I can change the animation itself. Maybe let's say that this is going to be 400 milliseconds, so way faster. I don't want an ease out. I want a bit of a bouncy animation. And let's see, is that better than what we have earlier? Maybe that's pretty cool. Maybe that's exactly what I needed. What else can happen? What else can happen? I don't know. Maybe we could have something like, once that happened, if I'm here and I click, this thing is just expanding in size. I don't know. So now I'm hovering. If I click, expanding in size, but I don't have the hover to go back. So what do I need to do? You go back here and say, well, if I'm clicking again, it's going to go back there. I want to have the effects to be kind of similar. So it's going to be mouse leave. If the mouse is leaving, it's going back there automatically. So then, rotate, on click it expand. If I get out, it goes back to the initial. These, very simple thing, right? But it works. So you have your transition, you have your things, you have your animations, and the entire work that you need to do in order to create cool and fun micro interactions and others, it's just that you need to make sure that you have your frames, your keyframes for each of your animations, and then you do that for everything in your design and so on. And if I go back to my buttons, which is the best representation for this, each of these buttons, by default, when I'm building them, have pre-made transition and animation, so that if I'm using one of these buttons somewhere in whatever UI I want, it will by default have the transition and micro animation that I need them to have to feel natural, to have the over effect, to have the press effect, and so on. And that way I don't waste my time. I just get the thing to work. And that's it. And that's all you need to do. Like making sure that you understand every keyframe in the animation that you want to create. That's it. And again, at the beginning, that's good. That's more than good. You have exactly what you need to understand. You have a initial trigger, potential retraction, secondary trigger, and retraction with an hover, and you go. And that's really basic, but you can change the content, you can explore other things. It's going to take a bit of time, but it's that easy. Like that's the important thing. It is that easy, and it's just a matter of you understanding keyframes and knowing the transition. So some of the things that I can recommend you to do, I don't know if I have that here. I don't think I do. Um, Kinda, this one is gonna work ish. Not really, but kinda. Maybe this one. It's the same thing. It doesn't really matter. That right here, for example, is potential like stages of the animation that I want to have, right? I want these two things to expand into two split view. Like that's an option. Um, Not necessarily something that I wouldn't do, you know, but just playing with the options on paper to see how the thing is going to potentially behave. It's pretty useful. So if you are unsure, just draw out the frames, the steps, the things that you want to have in your animation, and then see if you can just create that inside of the tools that you're using for your animation, Figma, whatever. If you can't, just animate it. Then you're done. And nothing else is needing to happen. But yeah, that's the base. That's everything you need. Like there is nothing specific other than that you need to learn. Animation principle, the third video that I sent. Motion principle, which is the first video that I sent. And then if you want, there are like other videos on YouTube that are motion design in UI, or motion design for micro interaction. But that's a bit more advanced. I would rather you understand how a ball, a cube, something that is made of paper, jelly, rock, water, is going to behave when it just drops on the floor, is released to the user, and so on. That's the type of thing that you need to understand in order to make your interactions in animation more natural, by simply having the understanding that, oh, that thing is gonna deform itself and change shape to react to the environment. So if I'm I think I've said that before, but some of the best example that I have, and I can't really show you because I don't have like a drop down camera, but it kind of works. If I have a plane, like a plane, do I have a plane? That's a plane. It's gonna be fun. If I have a plane like this, right? And there is an object on top of the plane, I'm gonna be in front of the light. You can see how the shadow is impacting or impacted when I'm moving the thing further out or closer in, right? You see kind of where it drops and how sharper it becomes when I'm closer to the paper, right? That's how shadow works. So if you are looking for or creating something inside of your app, and you want to make sure that it looks like the element is raising from the floor, the shadow itself needs to change. And so in your transition, in your animation, in your creation, you kind of need to have the exact same thing. So you go from this very simple element right here, currently set to on the floor, like really it has a very small amount of depth and so on, that's it. Let me do a more white version, so it's even a piece of paper, nothing else. And I'm lifting that piece of paper from the floor. What should happen? It's going to be closer to me, so it needs to be a bit bigger. Not by much, but a bit bigger. And by the amount of spread that I have that will define the amount of lift. So my lift is just the distance and the blur amount, as we just saw by looking at it from the light point of view. And then based on where the light is positioned and so on, there is potentially sometimes the spread that is going down or up, depending on how realistic you want the thing to be. So usually you have more spread the further away it is from the floor, and the shadow itself is becoming like lighter overall. So that's how you raise something. And so now, going back to right here, if I just create a transition of while hovering, a small animate that is like very simple, but not bouncy, just an ease in and out. What do I get? Raising from the floor with a natural-ish light source, and you really see that transition as if it was raising from the floor. This is a very drastic transition. Like usually I wouldn't go past this. Like if my initial is 322, this one would be like 340. That's it. Not more than that. Like that's not what I would do. But yeah, that thing is broken. God damn it. But yeah, that's the type of thing that I would do. And again, it's just a matter of understanding the keyframes and the transitions and the things. And then you're good. You're done. And so on. Anyways. Anyways. I'ma send you to Clark. As always, it's Friday. It makes sense. It's that time of the day. Cool. So, as always, if you want to watch the VOD for some reason, that's going to be on YouTube. Appreciate it. If for some reason you want to ask questions when I'm not live, join the Discord, because that's where people are and I can answer you there. That's necessary. Other than that, I shall be back on Monday at 4:30. Yeah, you're welcome. That's why I'm here. That is why I'm here. Have a good party time. Have a good party time. As always, if you want to learn Japanese, Can is pretty good, but I'm biased for that. And then if you want to give me some money, you can sub, but it's not necessary. I would rather you buy UI kit, you know, the usual. The usual. But yeah, as always, take care of yourself. Eat something, drink something, be kind to each other. You know the drill. And yeah, I'll see you all on Monday. Bye.